Have you ever remembered someone that no one else does? What if the entire world insists they never existed? When Meera moved back to her hometown of Verampur after years away, everything felt familiar, yet off. She remembered the temple bell that rang every evening, the chime of kulfi vendors in summer. But the streets were quieter now. Faces called her. And the house across the street, the one that used to burst with noise, stood still like a museum. That house reminded her of Priyanka, a girl who lived there when Meera was little. She couldn't have been more than 8. Bright eyes, loud laugh, always with scraped knees and wild hair. And then one day, she was gone. No news, no search parties, just silence. Like the town agreed to forget her. Back then, Meera asked her parents, where did Priyanka go? Her mother had paused, eyes sharp. There was no Priyanka, she'd said flatly. You had imaginary friends. A whole bunch of them. Meera had laughed nervously. But even then, something inside her had gone cold. A seed of doubt planted in fertile ground. Now, returning to Verampur as an adult, she asked again. Do you remember Priyanka? The girl across the street. Mrs. Fernandez squinted. That house has been empty since, maybe 2005. No, Meera said. There was a family. And a girl. My age. She disappeared. Mrs. Fernandez just smiled sadly. Maybe you are thinking of someone from a book, dear. The same polite dismissal. The same blank wall. She tried others. Old neighbors. Shopkeepers. The answer was always the same. No one remembered. At night, Meera sat on her childhood bed, flipping through old journals. Years of scribbled thoughts and forgotten days. There it was. A name. A memory captured in ink. 12th June 2006, Priyanka said if she vanished, I'd still hear her laughter. I said I'd never forget. Her hands trembled. The words felt real, solid. She turned the page. 1st July, I saw her again. She looked scared. She said, they're trying to make me go away. And then, no more mentions of Priyanka. Just blank space. Page after page, empty of that name. As if someone had stopped her from writing. Or stopped her from remembering. She visited the local school. The place where childhoods were catalogued. Records of a student named Priyanka Sinha? 2005 to 2006 maybe? The clerk shook his head slowly. No one by that name ever attended here. What about her family? The Sinhas at house 27. He checked his ledger. That plot was never residential, he said. Just a government lot. Always has been. Meera walked out, dizzy. The world felt like it was tilting. Why did no one remember her? Why did even the records say she never existed? Was she making this up? Was her mother right? Were they just imaginary friends? One night, desperate for answers, Meera returned to the grey house across the street. It stood silent under the moon. The door wasn't locked. It creaked open like a sigh. The rooms were dusty but strangely untouched. Like time had passed here. In the smallest room, the one that used to be Priyanka's, she found a mirror. Cracked. Foggy with age and neglect. She stood in front of it. Her own reflection stared back, a stranger in a familiar place. And then she noticed something. Faint, almost invisible. The carved initials on the bottom right corner, PS. Priyanka Sinha. Her reflection stared back at her, but something felt wrong. Disconnected. She opened a closet door. Inside, a small wooden box. A child's treasure chest. A photo inside. Faded, creased. It was a birthday party. Balloons, cake, a child smiling brightly. The child looked exactly like Meera. Unmistakably her own face, younger. But under the photo, one word was scribbled in a child's hand, Priyanka. Her breath caught in her throat. This couldn't be. She looked again. The child, maybe 8 years old, had a ribbon in her hair. The same dimple when she smiled. The same slightly crooked smile Meera saw in the mirror every day. She turned the photo over. On the back, a message. To Meera, on your 8th birthday. Love, Ma. Except, she had never had a birthday party. Not one she remembered. Had she? Suddenly, flashes returned. Not memories, but fragments. Sharp, painful shards. A therapist's office. The sterile smell. White pills in a small paper cup. A voice repeating, calm, insistent. You are Meera. You are Meera now. Priyanka is gone. She fell to the floor, the photo clutched in her hand. Memories slammed into her like a train wreck. Not of Priyanka, the friend, but of Priyanka, the girl. She was Priyanka. There was no missing girl. There was no friend who vanished. There was a missing identity. Her identity. She had once wandered too far into the woods behind the town. A child's adventure gone wrong. Something terrible had happened there, an accident, maybe. A fall. She was found days later, silent, broken. Her mind a blank slate of trauma. Her family, desperate, decided the damage was too deep. The memories too painful to bear. So they rewrote her reality. Gave her a new name. A new story. A new personality. And she had believed it. Lived it. For years. Until now. Until the house across the street called her back. That night, Meera sat on her porch, staring across at the house that was never meant to exist. The house that held the ghost of who she was. The mirror she took from inside sat beside her. Cracked, foggy, but showing a truth the world had tried to hide. In it, her reflection was smiling. But it wasn't Meera's smile. It was Priyanka's. The white, dimpled grin, before everything went quiet. Before she was erased. Sometimes, the hardest person to find is the one you are pretending not to be.